What's up, everybody? It's your boy Senpai, and today we're going to be talking about some cards that can and will improve your Tri 3 trial decks. So, first clan we're going to talk about, we're going to actually start out with Neo Nectar. First card, Pansy Musketeer Sylvia. Pretty good. It generates a token. It's free. And there's not really too much else to be said about it. It's a really good card. It's a 10k base for Fork Clan. What else could you ask for? But if that's something that's out of your price range and/or your budget options, no worries. We have options. Next is the Spiritual Tree Sage Erminsui Soul, whatever his name is, the big tree grade 2. So if you have at least 2 plant tokens, can't think of the words right now, then you counterblast 1, and then you get plus free 5k, and you get a draw. So making that column with the plant tokens behind him 25k on a grade 2, and if you're attacking up or down, it's still a good threat. So, and these are rares, mind you. They're like probably 8 or 9 cents on TCG Player. Next is Dandelion Musketeer Merca. I don't even know if that's her actual name. I believe that is it. But Merca on place on Vanguard or Rearguard. Soul Blast 1, get a plant token. Easy early advantage, easy early rush. You get to partially build a board for on your turn 1. You get to attack for 13k no matter where. Also, Merca has the beautiful effect of if she's on rearguard, or if it's on rearguard, whatever gets placed in front of it gets a plus 3k. So you can swing for 16k if you call it to the rearguard circle. It's pretty nice. And now we're on the grade 3s for Neo Nectar. First, we're actually going to talk about one that does make sense to everybody, which is Exploding Tomato. You just sack off a couple of tokens, and then you get to draw a card, and it gets plus 10k. I mean, it does kind of conflict with Asha's need to, absorb up those tokens so you can make her token, but still, I can see the good in it being a backup grade 3. Next is Maiden of Trailing Rose. Maiden of Trailing Rose, if you ride her first before Asha, I believe this is the best grade 3 option. And I haven't really been seeing too many other people talking about her. She, on ride, you pump out at up to 3, I believe it is, tokens, which is exactly what Asha needs. There's your whole back row right there. And then you just call 2 things from the front row, and you're good to go. And then you can do a Soul Saver like effect. You just Soul Blast, and then all your tokens get plus power. So, anywho's, next let's talk about Royal Paladins. So next we're going to be talking about Royal Paladins. And we're going to start out with a not so obvious choice. We're going to go with Great Sage Baron. He should be ran at 2. His skill is basically when your other unit attacks, you can have it gain plus 5k, which is really nice. Just in case you want to hit that extra stage. If you have a booster and it's swinging for 18 and you want to hit a force number because they hit a trigger, you can hit 23. But if that other unit is a grade 3, it gets a crit if you counterblast 1 and you retire him. So that's a really good thing. You can, and it says unit. It doesn't say rear guard. So you can use this on Alt Mile on the Vanguard. If you're riding the trial deck or you have the trial deck grade 3 Alt Mile on Vanguard or Rearguard Circle, so that's pretty good right there. Next on our list, we have Blaster Blade, because we can call him out mid-battle. Not yet. We can call him out, though, and he'll expend a counter blast. He's good spot removal. He is basically the face of Royal Paladins, and nobody can deny his utility. You don't need to put in any of his support. You just can toss him in there, and he's good to go. So 10k, counterblast 1, kill a thing, and yeah, not much else to be said. And another combo that actually everybody's using, if you're not, then I have no idea what you're doing with your Royal Paladins. We have Akane and Pongal. Akane and Pongal is just basically a good 1-2 punch. You call out Akane from hand, counterblast 1. You go search for a Pongal, call Pongal behind her. Pongal then soul charges either a trigger and you get plus 5k, or you soul charge an alt mile and then you get to get well, I can't call it a stride, Aerial Divine Knight alt mile. You get to get his skill off a turn earlier, which helps. But don't rely on it too much because it is all based on RNG, and if your opponent stacks your deck just the right way. Next, we're going to talk about Little Sage Marin. As much as I hate Little Bitch Marin, he is a good card. I definitely hate him. I really do hate him. I've hated him since the G era and since Limit Break era and everything in between. But he is a good card. It's whenever something's placed in front of him, counterblast 1, and you get to draw a card. Everything else that comes with him, complimentary. Next, we're going to talk about Gear Chronicles. So, cards that you may have for Gear Chronicles that... Oh man, this section, it was hard to actually look for cards that were either cheap or you just might happen to have them. So some of these cards are going to be on the pricey side. We're going to start out with we're going to go from expensive to least expensive. So Chrono Tooth Tigar, the grade 1 for Chrono Fang. He is just pure advantage if you ride him. And then after that point, after grade 1, you're just using him to discard for stride effects and whatnot, because if you have the triple rare grade 2 from Gears from the Tri 3 set, you discard anything and it's your stride fodder, so you can ride next stage, and once you do that, you discard Chrono Tooth, you counterblast 1, draw a card, bring it back in rest position, and it's pretty good, so you get some board presence too. And at the beginning of your turn, after you rode him, you get to draw a card just for free, for no reason. Absolutely no reason. There's no reason that card should have that good of a skill. Why can't Aqua Force have that? Anyway, Chrono Bite, which is the grade 2. It's not as good, but what it lacks in free advantage, it gives you pressure and synergy with Chrono Tooth. So Chrono Bite, I'm sorry if I'm mixing these two up, but Chrono Bite is grade 2 of the Chrono Fang. During the beginning of your turn, if he's on Vanguard Circle, draw a card, discard a card. You can discard Chrono Tooth, or Chrono Tooth, the grade 1, whatever it's called. And then you get to begin to keep going on your pluses. Then, during your turn, counterblast 1, discard 1, again, still works with Chrono Tooth. And he gets a crit. So, pressure, force 1. And yeah, so those two are the most expensive options on here. Well, they're not the most expensive. Urcab. Urcab is a really good card. It's a really good card. It is a grade 2 that can give another drive check to anything on your Vanguard Circle, which on turn 2 is really nice. But if you don't have it laying around, I definitely would not suggest pick it up, especially if you're just having it in for the trial deck, because arguably you have some better options, or options that are just as good. If you want to stay on the cheaper side without spending $26 per copy at the time of this recording for this card, it's okay. Next, we have Steam Mechanic Nabu. This beautiful common has been out since the Answer of Truth extra booster, and he is on attack, or it is on attack. Bind a card from your drop zone, and he has guard restrict. And then at the end of the battle, goes into soul, so feeds your soul for Chrono Jet, and then you draw a card, so he replaces it, or it replaces itself. So it's a pretty good card. I definitely think it's worth picking up. It's a couple of cents. And it's really good right now in the deck, because you don't want that other grade 3 that's in the deck. It's really bad. Next, something that you could easily have, Wedge Move Dragon. It was a rare inside the Answer of Truth, and it was a shop promo. So if you want to get fancy, you could spend about $4 getting the Congratulations version, or you could just keep it cheap and get the one for 8 cents. And he just counts as basically stride fodder. He gets grade +2 whenever you discard him for anything. And then his other skill is if he hits on the Vanguard Circle, you get to draw a card and bind a card out of hand, which was really good for the Lost Legend deck or the Mystery Flare Dragon Turbo deck, but nobody really plays those anymore. And finally, well, the last Gear Chronicle specific card, Quickie Worker. This card is a godsend. If you're playing Gears, you are playing this card. Basically, what this card does is it takes you could put back to the bottom of your deck a grade 3 or higher card. If you put back, basically, if you put back like a grade 4, which is what you're gonna do because you're only gonna be running 3 to 4 Chrono Dragon next stages, you get to Soul Blast 2 and then draw a card. So you get to 1, put back your stride that you want to put back, then Soul Blast 2, draw a card. Pretty nice. But it's only on play, so that's the only bad part. And the last thing that you would need to upgrade these trial decks, more Perfect Guards. More Perfect Guards. It definitely goes without saying you're definitely going to need more Perfect Guards because they only give you 1 draw Perfect Guard. And they should be fairly cheap to pick up. I don't know how much the foil versions of the trial deck cards are, or the trial deck PGs are, but you could just easily get the common ones because we are getting the Sentinel crits. And if you want to be cheeky McCheekyton, I know that I am. For Royals, I'm going to be playing 12 crit with the Sentinel crit in there, so you can go ahead and use that option. And I'll be coming up in a video later on talking about the advantages and disadvantages of playing the Sentinel crits versus playing Sentinel PGs in your deck lineup, because not all decks can play them. So anyway, if you guys like what you watched or heard, go ahead, give me a like, give me a subscribe. We're almost at 300, so we're at 299 right now, just one more person and we hit 300. I do want to thank you guys for the journey here, and we'll see you guys next time.